Hey everybody, I'm Ethan, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Wheelspeed WS1 Pro electric scooter. At $569 US, it's priced in the mid-tier commuting category, but is it something you could actually use to travel with, or is it better off as just a toy? We're going to find out next on Now Let's Review. All right, so here we are with the Wheelspeed WS1 Pro. This was not a brand or a model I was familiar with until they reached out to us asking if we wanted to review this. But anyways, here we are with it. Let's start off with the looks. Personally, I think this looks a little bit more like a toy, like a kid's scooter than a lot of the other scooters we've tested out. It just kind of has that, like, I don't know, toyish look, like the red plastic here for the folding mechanism and like the red button here. Like, I don't know, there's just something about this that to me at least looks more like a toy than like an actual commuting scooter. Looks aside, let's talk about some of the specs. This has a 37 volt, 14.5 amp hour lithium ion battery that gives it a claimed range of up to 36 miles per charge. Now that is a very large claimed range for a scooter of this size, speed, and general category. This battery does have a 7.5 hour charge time, which is on the longer side for scooters like this, I will say. That battery powers this 400 watt front hub motor, which brings the scooter up to a top speed of 19 miles an hour. So this again fits into that very busy category of 350 watt to 500 watt motor, 20-ish mile an hour commuter scooter. I expect it from a scooter in this category. 19 to 20 miles an hour is a pretty typical top speed, but just wish it could go at least 25. That 5 miles an hour would make a big difference in terms of how quickly it feels like you're going, but also, obviously, you would get to your destination actually faster. And yes, I'm used to 20 miles an hour being the speed that these kinds of scooters go at, but I just wish they could do like 25. I think that would make a big difference. Let's test the acceleration. 0 to top speed. Ready, go. Definitely one of the slower accelerating scooters that I've tested out of all the scooters that I've tested, to be honest. And there's top speed, so yeah, nothing super exciting. All right, so we'll do the hill test. This hill is measured at like 4 to 5 degrees as it goes up. That's about a 7 to 8.75 degree slope for all those interested. And I did not do that math myself, I looked it up. So similar to a lot of other scooters like this, you do have to push to start. So we're gonna give it a little push and go up the hill. We are in the fastest mode and I'm just gonna go full throttle up the hill. Here we go. It is not too thrilled about going up this hill. It doesn't feel like it's pulling that well. I do have a full battery too. We're only at 12 miles an hour and it is actually slowing down as this hill is getting steeper. Yeah, I'm not really impressed with the hill climbing ability so far. It is making it up. Like, I don't mean to discredit the fact that it is making it up the hill, but it's not doing it with a lot of confidence. For braking, you get a combination of regen brakes from the front motor and a mechanical disc brake on the back wheel. I'm also curious to see if it's gonna do the auto brake engagement when you start coasting at more than 20. I think it is. I should easily be picking up speed going down this hill. And it's holding me at 18, 19 miles an hour. So the mode 1, which is the little pedestrian icon there, is just a push or walk assist mode. Like, this is full throttle. All it does is help you walk the scooter up a hill. Handlebar grips are interesting. They're very wide, but like not consistently wide. They kind of like, they start thin and towards the inside and then it gets wider along the outside and then gets thinner again. Feels like they were made for people with smaller hands than me. They're pretty nice soft rubber. They're actually quite comfortable even when riding for a long period of time. So got no real complaints there other than the fact that they're a little bit small. The handlebar height is about perfect in my opinion. I have to reach down to them just a little tiny bit, but it's a perfect handlebar height for me. I'm 5'9" average height, so they picked a good middle ground. Looking at the handlebars, over here you have your screen which shows your speed, your battery level, and what ride mode you're in, as well as a headlight indicator and a cruise control indicator. The power button is also a diverse multifunction button. For example, if I press it once, that changes the gear or the ride mode or whatever. So you can switch between pedestrian walking mode, your S1, and then S2. If I double press it, it turns on and off the headlight. If I triple press the button, it turns on the very, very cool blue deck lights. This has blue lights along both sides of the deck. They're pretty bright and it looks really cool in the dark. If I press the button 4 times, it switches between miles an hour and kilometers an hour. and then if I press it 5 times, it turns on and off cruise control. Not in the sense that it turns on and off cruise control in real time, but it toggles on and off the ability for you to use cruise control. I personally don't like to have cruise control on. It doesn't really bother me at all to hold the throttle down. It's not like there's a super powerful spring behind the throttle that makes it difficult to do that. So it's good to have as an option though. And then of course on the right you have your thumb throttle. Again, it's one of those bigger, kind of cheaper feeling thumb throttles. It has a good amount of throw though, and it does have a rubber bit right here. So that of course helps with making sure your thumb doesn't slip off accidentally. So this does have an aluminum alloy frame, but you don't get to see much of it because it's all covered up with plastic. This is the only part of the scooter that's really exposed metal, is the stem right here. Everything else is coated in a nice thick layer of plastic fairings and stuff. It's fine, it doesn't really make a big difference. It just looks cheaper, I think, because of the fact that it's covered in plastic instead of having any exposed metal. This also has a maximum rider weight of 265 pounds. This is also IPX4 water resistant, so I think that's good for some light rain, getting a little bit of water on it, but not being soaked or being submerged or anything. Another claim that this scooter can make is shock absorption. Technically, there is a spring down in there. It's very difficult to see. But this does have a sort of swing arm here in the back. So the shock absorber that this has in the back actually does more than I gave it credit for at first. After having ridden this for a while, I am actually noticing that going over bumps, the swing arm in the back is actually compressing and is helping to soften the ride a little bit. It's not by a whole lot, but it is actually compressing while riding it. I don't actually have to just jump on it to get it to compress. So it does actually do more than I thought it did. Same thing on the back. This fender is very long, but don't let the floppiness fool you. It is not a brake that you can stand on. This is just a fender. And around back, you do have a flashing brake light. I always love when there's an actual functional flashing brake light. A lot of scooters have just an always-on tail light, so when it's a functional brake light, I always appreciate that. A couple other things, you do have reflectors, 2 on the front and 2 on the back. And you do have a front fender here, which is nice. It is plastic, obviously, but it does come down along the back quite far, so this will be blocking a lot of water and other crap from the road that might be spraying up at you. The deck of this scooter is plenty long for me to get both of my feet on here. Again, I wear size 11s, but it's a little on the narrow side. I would prefer if this deck was wider so I can more comfortably get both my feet on here. It isn't too bad though. The folding mechanism on this scooter is a little frustrating if you don't pay attention to the directions right away. I may or may not have done that, but it's pretty obvious that you have to pull up on this tab here, but it's very difficult to do. And I was like, why is that? And that's because you have to push forward on the stem of the scooter, which you can't really do if it's just freely rolling. So you have to like stand on it with one foot, lean into the stem with one hand, and then pull up on the tab with the other. Then it folds down, and it doesn't like to fold down if the kickstand is still down, because otherwise it wants to tip over. But once it's folded down, it just locks into place with an internal locking mechanism. You don't have to hook the stem onto the rear fender or anything. Picking the scooter up once it's been folded down is easy weight-wise, but a little bit tricky because of the fact that the stem is still freely floating. So if you pick this up, it still kind of twists around. It's not locked into place. Doesn't really matter once it's settled, it's balanced well. But this does weigh 43 pounds, so it might get a little tiring carrying it up a couple flights of stairs, but it is manageable. And then to unfold it, you again push up on this red lever thing, and then it just unfolds and clicks into place. This does have 10-inch pneumatic tires. A lot of scooters like this that are on the cheaper side have solid tires, which have their pros and cons, as do pneumatics. But this does have pneumatics, so you will have to fill them and worry about flats potentially. The tires grip well. This is all really loose pine needles and leaves and crap in the road because it's mid-October and stuff starts falling out of trees at this time of the year. So even so, with all that loose stuff on the ground, it is still gripping well. Haven't had any real traction issues. I will say the valve stem on the back here, I have had no problems accessing, obviously. It is very easy to get to, but the one on the front is kind of horrendous to get to. And the reason is it's really tucked into the motor casing here. Overall, I just really haven't been that impressed with this scooter. Like there's nothing about it that really stands out to me as being like, oh, super cool or really great or anything that makes it particularly amazing or worth buying. Like it's fine. Although, like I said, I don't think this is a great option for actually commuting with. I have to say build quality is not exceptional, if I'm being honest. It definitely feels like a cheaper scooter, cheap feeling plastic around it and stuff, but also just like, I don't know, it's making some slightly unpleasant noises. Like there's just a lot of squeaking and feel or sound like it's super well built. So comfort at speed is actually pretty good. This is a nice smooth road, so it's not too bad no matter what, but even going over some of like the cracks in the pavement and stuff, the fact that it has pneumatic tires makes a big difference, and it does help with the ride comfort quite a bit. So all things considered, who do I think this scooter is for? I think you could use it as a commuter if you don't have any big hills. Again, the top speed is low for my liking, but typical for this class of scooter. The fact that it has all the bright like blue lights on the deck leads me to believe this is kind of more aimed at a younger crowd. I think kids who are interested in getting an electric scooter would be pretty happy with this. It's fun. I don't know if this necessarily has the build quality and the long-term durability, or even just the performance at all to be like a reliable enough commuting vehicle. As of writing this review, this scooter does cost $589 US. I think it's a little bit pricey for what you get with this scooter, considering build quality and everything, but it does also come with a 1-year warranty. Before we wrap things up, I want to give a shout out to Lumos Helmets for partnering with us. They make these really, really cool bike helmets that have integrated headlights, tail lights, and on this, the Matrix, it has a screen actually that can display many different things. They also have built-in directionals with a little remote that you can attach to the handlebars to signal where you're going, to let cars and other bikes and scooters on the road know where on earth you're going, because sometimes bikes are not very good about telling other traffic on the road where they're going. Anyways, if you want to pick up one of these awesome helmets, head on over to lumoshelmet.co and use the code NOWYOUKNOW-LUMOS at checkout to get a discount on your order. Anyways, that wraps it up for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video and found it helpful, please hit the like button, helps the channel out. Also consider subscribing if you want to see other reviews of electric scooters, electric bikes, all kinds of stuff. Hit that bell icon too if you want to receive notifications when we post a video. So that way, if you're chomping at the bit to see our next video, you'll get a little ding on your phone so you can check and watch the video right away. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Now let's review.